Greetings, citizens, and welcome to another episode of an Avionics Technician's Guide. My professional experience between the MV-22 Osprey, both the 737 MAX and NG, and now the KC-46 Pegasus, has made me enjoy analyzing the ships within the verse. For my returning viewers and subscribers, your timestamp is in that description along with that pinned comment. But if you're new here and you like what you hear and see, then be sure to check out my other content in this channel and do me a solid by subbing and being notified for future videos. And if you end up enjoying this series, then tell me what ship you'd like to see in the comments below. Now, let's analyze the ship in full detail, the F7C S Ghost Hornet. Now, today we'll start off with a pre-flight walkaround where we examine the weapons package and the exterior of the ship. We'll then quickly look at the flight deck, analyze the flight performance, go over some of my components, and along with this, my personal loadouts and recommendations, wrap up the video with my final thoughts on the ship. Let's begin. The Anvil F7C S Ghost Hornet is the stealth variant of the F7C Hornet. With its combination of low-emission drives, proper weapons, and the future void armor technology that's capable of diffusing scans, it allows the ship to keep a lower profile. With the similar characteristics of the F7C, would classify this as a medium fighter, and would most likely sacrifice some of its armor for the void armor, which would make it lighter and reduce its defensive capabilities if it's in a tight situation. Now, the main benefit of the Hornet series is the modularity of the weapon hardpoints with the size 5 slot for proprietary Hornet utility modules or a special ball turret, which could be available to purchase in-game one day or on the website if CIG implements the ship customization for the Hornet lineup. Overall, the ship has been available year-round as a standalone ship for $125 US. Now, with all this being said, let's get a closer look and discuss the ship as we start our pre-flight walkaround. I'll see you on the ground. Starting off our walkaround, to the front of the ship we have our first empty weapon hardpoint slot that can hold up to a size 3 gun. Moving to the right side of the ship is the massive retro thrusters that are on either side of the ship. Next up is the size 3 hardpoint with a fixed size 3 gun equipped on either side for a grand total of 2 guns stock on the ship. Also, due to the location of the hardpoints, they can get shot off with ease because they're not well protected. Continuing to the right, the Ghost Hornet has a double wing design complete with Anvil's signature underwing design. Now, to the rear is the one and only main engine, your countermeasure buckets, and the unique canted vertical stabilizer and horizontal stabilizer all in one. Below the ship on either side is the size 3 and size 2 missile rack hardpoints that can retract into the ship. Along with this is your landing gear that have that skid design. And above is the size 5 utility slot mount that currently holds the Ghost Hornet cap that will assist with lowering ship emissions in the future. Now with our walkaround complete, let's move on to the flight deck. Now in the flight deck we have the multiple MFDs at your disposal. However, I do not like the 2 MFDs above on the flight deck canopy. Additionally, you have your inner throttle switches, your ejection seat, and with 3.8 you got the annunciator panel. Overall, the flight deck has decent visibility, but also those bulky struts do emphasize the rugged design that the Hornet gives off to its pilot. Now with our flight deck inspection complete, let's take it for a spin. See you back in the air. Now, being a medium fighter in general will mean you have trade-offs for the extra bells and whistles. The Ghost Hornet itself has an SEM speed of 192 meters a second and can converge to a max speed of 1,229 meters a second. Now moving on to the agility, your yaw rating is 50, pitch rating is 55, and your roll rating is 190. Along with this, it incorporates a quantum fuel tank that holds 583 units of quantum fuel. But remember, your total quantum range will vary with different quantum drives. Now, while the flight model is still evolving, citizens, please take mind that stats can and will change. However, for me personally flying it, to me it's a happy medium of agility, but it's not as agile as those light fighters, of course, like your Gladius and your Arrow. Now, let's move on to the components that I chose. Since the Ghost is a stealth ship, I went for a pure stealth build for the most part as a 3.8, with the exception of my quantum drive. which I just turn off if I'm not planning to jump and just scouting around. This would be the Siren Quantum Drive. Nothing really special about it. By all means, pick one that best suits your gameplay. Now for coolers, I chose the Snow Blinds. They seem to have the lowest emissions out of all of them so far. For shield generators, I chose the Mirages because not only do they provide the lowest signatures, but the important part is the fast initial recharge for when you turn the ship on. This allows you to save a large amount of emissions by keeping them off until you find a target, and once close, you can turn them on and be at 100% in seconds. Other shield generators upon initial restart will take forever to recharge to its max potential. So the Mirages give you a double benefit of having a fast recharge when taking damage and when the ship comes on. And for my one and only power plant, I chose the Slipstream power plant because again of the emissions it gives off. Now this build with shields and weapons off will give me roughly 250-ish EM radiation. This is extremely low, and if you combine this with decoupling to help with IR and heat, these will help keep those values as low as well. Now just remember, you do not need to follow what I did to a T. And as I've said before, it is very possible that one day a certain component class will be locked to a type of ship, such as, once again, a stealth component being only allowed on a stealth grade ship. Only time will tell. Anyways, if you'd like to learn more about ship components, then you should check out my video on how components work after this one. Now let's discuss those tactics and loadouts. Once again, since I run a stealth build, I like to ambush. Therefore, I use size 3 dominant scatter guns. Combining the tactics of leaving components off till you're ready to strike and decoupling helps a lot when I'm getting in close. While you still can be found through the use of a ping function, just remember that the ping tells you there's something out there, not necessarily the who and what. And once the Ghost actually can diffuse scans, combined with more fidelity with scanning, this can change. Now, for fleet tactics, I use size 3 shredders for high precision damage. But only when I'm called upon, because the shredders have very low ammo count. Overall, my tactics or goal is espionage, not to mainly engage. This is somewhat similar to my strategy to the Eclipse. I only use it for high priority targets. If I really want to get into a dogfight, I might as well go get my saber. For me though, the sweet spot for target engagement is 800 meters and lower for the dominant scatterguns to maximize the pellet cone of fire. And for the shredders, it is 1500 meters max range I will use them. I will not use them any further, because seriously, you need to make every single shot count with those. Altogether, if you would love to learn more about customizing your ship and understanding ship hardpoints, then please check out my video on how hardpoints work after this one. I guarantee that one will help you a lot. Now just remember, all I'm doing is trying to give you, the viewer, a recommendation and a perspective on how I use the ship. If you find a strategy and you have a loadout that fits you, then please use it, because at the end of the day, it is your choice, citizens. Along with this, here are some things to consider as well, as the fact that you can swap out the size 5 slot. And if you have a Super Hornet, you can make this ship its own Super Hornet in the current build by making the ball turret and the proprietary Hornet nose mount and placing them on the ship, making the ship have at least 6 guns. Also, an issue with the Ghost, like other ships suffer, is a very annoying bug where still your canopy randomly opens and then you'll need to close it. If you are in a firefight and it opens, a good pilot can snipe you if your shields are down or they're just using ballistics and they get lucky. Also, as I mentioned during the walkaround, the weapons along the wing can get ripped off either by collision or overall damage, along with the empennage section as well. Now, while there is nothing significant for space combat with the tail section, it could in fact affect your flight characteristics in the future one day if you're in atmosphere. And finally, the wide body of the Hornet where the size 5 slot sits is a very prime surface area to get shot at. If someone's to engage you, protect this as best as you can. Now, as for my own thoughts on the ship with the analysis we just went through, would I recommend this to the new player who is just starting off? No, mainly because you're locked into combat and cannot really do other things that the game offers. For cheaper, you can either purchase the Cutlass Black, the Avenger Titan, 300i with customization options, you get the idea. But if you're dead set on buying this ship, then the first thing I would recommend is running missions and then buying a third weapon for the front mount so you're able to do more damage and protect yourself better. So then who would I recommend this ship to then? Personally, this would be for the players who either have a fleet evolved around a Kraken, Idris, Javelin, or any other ship that is intended to support and carry smaller ships. Or of course, to the player who is looking for the scouting role and already have multiple ships at their disposal. Again, there is nothing wrong with this ship. I just don't think this would be the best bang for your buck if this is the first ship you buy and you're starting off within Star Citizen. That is all. And personally, my belief is if you are a scout, you are intended to go ahead of the crew. So, either find a quantum drive that has efficiency over speed for a long jump, like in the Pyro system where you can't refuel as easily as in Stantum, or a fast quantum drive if you're staying within reach of the mothership if you're carrier based. This is a earn in-game ship. The reason why I say this is because I always recommend purchasing a ship that gives you great flexibility and value. While the Ghost Hornet does cost $125 in store, it can actually be bought in-game for roughly 1,654,000 UEC. So if you buckle down and do missions of any type, you can honestly buy it at R-Corp. Or if you want, you can farm up credits for Arena Commander and try it there for the sake of getting a feel for it. Because for me, it's kind of hard to judge a ship based on how it performs in a very tight testing simulation. That's just me though. Now, even with all the things I said, just remember the ship still hasn't even gotten its stealth advantage yet, and other supporting mechanics like the damage system and the fuel gameplay are not in. So while with the current build the ship can be superior in ways, the ship can change at CIG's discretion until the game is fully released. But of course, it's your journey overall, so after this, do as you please with this ship, and have fun. As always, I thank you for your love and support. If you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it, then please take the time to like it and share it with anybody who you think would find helpful. Also, tell me your own thoughts on the Hornet Ghost in the comments below. And again, feel free to subscribe. Remember, citizens, your subscriptions help me reach out even further to the community so they also can benefit from my content. And no sweat, but if you like to, you can also further support me on Patreon. It's never necessary, but it's highly appreciated. But until next time, fellow citizens, I will see you on the flip side.